Hi, Cancer, and welcome to your March 2024 horoscope. In March, we have less contacts with Pluto, which is amazing, especially if Pluto really took it out of you in January and February. However, March also signals the start of eclipse season, so the lessons are not over yet. That is a huge part of what we're doing as humans on this earth. But let's go ahead and get into what you can expect day by day in March. On March 3rd, we have Venus in your 8th house, squaring Uranus in your 11th house. There might be some unexpected things happening with your group of friends or with your community, those that you can really call your people. And sometimes perhaps you feel quite close to them, and other times not so much. And as a result, this might be making it quite difficult for you to show your loving nature, to be vulnerable and trusting with them. On March 5th, Mars, who is also in your 8th house, is sextiling and trining the nodes, and the nodes are in your 10th and 4th house. Especially with all of the Pluto activity in your 8th house for the first 2 months of 2024, you have really been learning about what it means to be vulnerable, about what it means to trust, and how to exist in this place of being open where you know the other person could very easily hurt you, putting yourself in such a vulnerable position. And you might be learning quite a few things about yourself, especially. And all of this might be encouraging you to become a little bit more selfish and pursue your own career, pursue your own way into the world. And a career is a huge part of that for you, so that you can make sure that balance is fair, that sure, you can rely on others emotionally, but at the same time, you're not relying on them financially, perhaps, that you still feel like you have a sense of security into taking care of yourself, and also a sense of who you are separate from others, who you are as your own individual. On March 9th, Mars in your 8th house is squaring Uranus in your 11th house. So we had the same aspect earlier, but with Venus squaring Uranus, and now it's with Mars squaring Uranus. Because Mars and Uranus are both quite explosive planets, this might be a day where you just need to take some precautions not to overdo it. Sometimes during these days, unexpected things might come out of nowhere, and we might react in very strong ways. And again, because your 8th and 11th house are highlighted, it might be that you have some unexpected things happening from your community and your friends, and you respond in a very strong way because you feel that vulnerability again. All of this uncertainty might make you want to control the situation and to control how vulnerable you are or dependent you are on them. On March 10th, there's a new moon in Pisces in your 9th house. A new moon is a new beginning, and because we have Saturn right next to this new moon, it's a serious new beginning. And for you especially, it's about your values and belief systems. The story and the meaning you give to your world that has an effect on how you show up, what actions you take, what type of human being you are on this earth, where you focus your time and energy. It honestly has an effect on everything. And especially for you, Cancer, it's a good idea to follow your intuition. If it feels like a certain belief or a certain value or a certain place where you should spend your time is something that's important, is something that will bring you joy and satisfaction, then follow that feeling. On March 11th, Venus also enters Pisces or your 9th house, With Venus entering your ninth house, you might find that you are trying to bring some peaceful and harmonious activities to all of this making sense of the world that you're seeking. So, for example, one of the ways might be that you're actually learning something new and you try to sort of beautify that. Perhaps when you sit down to learn or read a book, you light some candles or you buy a beautiful notebook where you can take notes from what you're learning. On March 20th, the sun enters Aries or your 10th house. This is also the new astrological year because we're starting the new year with the first zodiac sign, which is Aries. You might find that from the March 20th onwards, more of your energy is also being directed towards your work and your career. And this is actually quite in line with the upcoming eclipse season because the eclipse season for you personally has a lot of focus on your career. And this could really show up as, okay, I've thought about it, I've determined what are my values, what do I believe in, what is important to me, and now I'm ready to apply it. On March 21st, Venus finally catches up with Saturn in your ninth house and they become conjunct. Even though they're quite different planets, on this day, they're going to have an effect on each other. So hopefully Venus is going to soften Saturn a little bit, and Saturn is going to add some more seriousness to Venus. So we spoke a little bit earlier that with Venus in your ninth house, you might be sort of beautifying all of the learning activities that you're doing. And Saturn might ask you on this day, does that really matter? And the way Venus might respond is saying, well, actually, no, it doesn't. But what does matter is perhaps starting to read some poetry. So you start to bring some of that beautiful, harmonious approach to your learning, but in a way that's more meaningful. And it works the other way as well. If you had any routines around your learning, perhaps you joined a program or a course to learn new things, to challenge what you believe in, Venus is going to ask you to soften that routine a little bit and say, perhaps, learning from a course or an organization is really nice, but what if you start asking your friends about their values and their belief systems and learn from them as well and all of the knowledge that they have? On March 23rd, Mars also enters Pisces or your ninth house. So Cancer, you are really examining what you stand for during this month because of all this energy in your ninth house. And a huge part of that could be by traveling or by learning. And the way I see Mars entering the ninth house is you've had this insightful Venus and Saturn conjunction where each of the planets learned from each other, where you learned how to make your loving and beautiful nature more serious, and you learned how to soften your more serious nature as well. And having those insights now has given you a renewed energy and a renewed motivation to continue exploring and learning. On March 24th, Venus in your ninth house is sextiling Jupiter in your 11th house. This is really a beautiful day where there might be an abundance of life lessons coming from your group of friends that is having an influence on what you stand for, your values, and your belief systems. I could almost really see this as like one of your friends has a baby, delivers a baby, and all of a sudden you realize, wow, life is really precious. And I want to make sure that I direct more of my time towards my friends and really spending time with them while they're still here on this earth. On March 25th, we have a full moon in Libra in your 4th house. And the north and south node are about 10 degrees away from the sun and the moon, which actually makes this a partial lunar eclipse. So this is the beginning of eclipse season. And as a result, whatever is happening around this lunar eclipse might be a theme that continues to play out for you in the eclipse season. And specifically for you, Cancer, this eclipse season is going to ask you to be more selfish. As a Cancer, you love to take care of those around you. You love to nurture those around you and to spend your time and energy on them. But this eclipse season is going to check with you whether that's still in balance, whether you're making sure to also explore your own ambitions, making sure to set boundaries and to also give yourself time and space to continue to grow and to continue to excel, and specifically to continue to focus on your career. We close off the month on March 28th with Venus in your 9th house, sextiling Uranus in your 11th house. This could be an interesting day because there might be some ups and downs and some unexpected news coming from your friends or your community. And as a result, you're able to really put forward and exercise these values that you determined earlier in the month, that you set for yourself earlier in the month. And this is making it easier for you to handle these unexpected news. So overall, Cancer, you are doing a lot of reflecting on what you stand for, why you're here on this earth, and the values that you want to live by. So these are not easy questions at all, but hopefully, with the upcoming eclipse season, it will also help bring you back into balance to make sure that you're not only focusing on those around you, but that you're really focusing on yourself as well and making sure that you live and hold up these values and beliefs that you have. So overall, I hope you enjoy this time, Cancer. I hope you take some time to reflect. And if you enjoyed this horoscope, then make sure you like the video. And if you want to catch the April horoscope, then make sure you subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.